Anytime. Anytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
And we welcome you into Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with man Mario, Danny in here today. Good to see you guys. Danny, thanks for joining the party today. Taylor's on I guess a little bit of a longer Christmas break. So glad that you're with us. It is National Signing Day for everybody, but we're going to get you up to date with what's going on with LSU. Scott Rabley will be with us here in about 15 minutes. We'll do first class, second class, no class at the bottom of the hour. So it's seriously, been a extremely busy last 16 hours or so, I guess, between the signing class and the transfers that are coming in. Let me get you up to date, and we're going to go with for now the LSU official announcements. The guys that are in right now. There are 16 players that have been signed. Not expecting a whole lot of surprises. When do you ever expect surprises? Hey, I'm expecting a surprise. I always tell that joke every signing day. But there's not this big signing announcement later in the day that LSU is waiting on. Most of the guys that are making those ESPN U announcements and things like that, LSU is not in on. They will be tomorrow, obviously, when Desmond Ricks makes his decision. But today, really, there's kind of a lack of drama, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. So let me do this. Let me not bury the lead here. About 25 minutes ago, Deshaun Womack from Baltimore, the huge defensive lineman that a lot of people expect is going to make an immediate impact, is officially in. There was a few nervous moments about him. In the last 24 hours before signing date, a lot of the rumors will fly fast and furious. So you gotta kind of balance yourself. Anyway, Womack is in. So let me list the players that are in the inverse order that they came in. Kylan Jackson, safety from Zachary, came in about 15 minutes ago. Womack was before him at 11:36. Tyree Adams came in a little bit, the offensive lineman from St. Aug. Trey Holly, the record-setting running back from Farmerville, came in just after 11 o'clock. Ryan Yates, the safety from Denton, Texas, is in. Jackson McGowan, the tight end, is in. Jackson McGowan is from Miamisburg, Ohio. Whit Weeks, linebacker, came in at about 10:30 today. Weeks is from Watkinsville, Georgia, a linebacker. Kyle Parker, the record-setting receiver out of Texas, came in just after 10 o'clock. Lance Hurd, the highly rated offensive lineman out of North Louisiana, out of Neville, came in about 10 o'clock. Kai Preen, the wide receiver from St. James, from Santa Ma. He's from St. James. Came in a little bit before 9 o'clock. Before 10 o'clock, the tight end Mac Markway, huge recruit at a need position. He came in at about 9:30 this morning. Markway from St. Louis. DJ Chester, offensive lineman, came in at 9:30 this morning. He's from McDonough in Georgia. Jalen Brown, wide receiver from Florida, highly recruited player, was in at 9 o'clock this morning. Dylan Carpenter, defensive end, came in at about 8:30 this morning. Ricky Collins, a quarterback from right here in Baton Rouge, came in at 8:15, and Michael Doherty, the safety, was first from Logan'sville, Georgia. So that's 16 on the way to 24. So all of that good news. No surprises means that nothing bad happened. Now, they didn't. Arch Manning didn't wake up this morning and decide to change to LSU. So there's nothing kind of coming or going that we didn't expect so far. As we talked about earlier in the week, we expected the news from the transfer portal incomings would be here either on signing day or just after signing day. Actually, they came in a little bit earlier. Last night, LSU got 3 defensive linemen. Arizona defensive end Paris Shand. He had 23 tackles, 2.5 for loss in 9 games last fall. Jalen Lee from Florida. Lee comes in. He played in 12 games for Florida last year. He had 3 starts at nose tackle, made 3 starts at nose tackle and had 8 tackles on the season. And Oregon edge rusher Braden Swinson, who may be the most highly thought of the group. He had 35 tackles and 3 sacks at Oregon. He played there for 3 years, so he's got a year left, but they expect that he's going to come in and compete for playing time immediately on that defensive line. So that's where we are right now, here about halfway through the day. Again, that big announcement where LSU's in against a couple other schools and you don't really completely know where that guy's going, that's not on tap for today. Tomorrow, again with Desmond Ricks, but not really today. For what we're going to be we're dealing with. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com as we get into deeper in the holiday week. If you're responsible for doing some of the cooking at your house, make it with Supreme Rice. Old favorites like rice dressing and gumbo, it's perfect for those things. You want some different ideas, you can go to the website. They've got some unique recipes there. You're going to be supporting our Louisiana farmers while enjoying a delicious product. They've been down in Crowley in southwest Louisiana since the 1930s. Pick up Supreme Rice and stretch your food dollar at all your AG food stores, all your Walmarts, all of your Rouses, all of your Winn-Dixies, and it's available down in the New Orleans market as well. For more information and some great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. This is the first full signing class for Brian Kelly. When he got here last year, a lot of the signing class work was done. The transfer portal work was where he had to go. Today's podcast, we take a look back at the classes for the last 4 LSU coaches, their first full class: Jerry DiNardo, Nick Saban, Les Miles, and Ed Ogeron. I was looking, I just get kind of a little preview of that. If you're into the history of this and how first-year coaches did, and, of course, we're not going to be able to grade this Kelly class for quite some time, but Ed Ogeron's 2017 class, one of the best in LSU history for his first full signing class. 4 first-round draft picks came out of that class. The Thorpe Award winner came out of that class, and he wasn't even one of the first-round picks. The guy that's played more games than anybody in LSU history came out of that class, and just about everybody in that class turned out to be a player. Not all of them played here. There were a couple that ended up having to transfer out and became players, but only like 1 or 2 guys ended up not panning out at all. It had star power at the top. It had depth. The 2017 class is what you shoot for every year. I mean, when you come in there with Caleb Von Chason and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Justin Jefferson and Patrick Queen, who were all first-round picks, and guys like Ed Ingram, who's in the league, and Jacob Phillips, who's in the league, and Tyler Shelvin, who was a massive recruit in more ways than one, spent some time in the league. Neil Farrell in the league. Sadiq Charles ended up being a really good player. Had to transfer out somewhere else. So we take a look back at some of those classes, and I was thinking about some of the signing days past. This used to be a full 12-hour marathon when we had the bash, with the early signing period landing where it does, and the bash and things like that are not part of our daily routine on signing day anymore. But we were talking earlier in the week about some of the great moments in signing day history, when Ryan Perrilloux signed, or when Chad Jones signed, or the not so great moments when LSU would lose a recruit. I remember being at one bash where Travis Minor had not signed yet, and there was real hope that Jerry DiNardo was going to be able to reel him in. And at the end of every bash, there would be there'd be a presentation by the head coach, and they'd show some film and they'd put the names up, and the coach would talk about all of them. And DiNardo was the only guy that ever stopped in the middle. His cell phone rang. Okay, this was before everybody had a cell phone in their pocket. Somebody had a phone up, and they're like, Jerry, you got a call. And he says, wait, I got to take this. And the whole place stopped. It's like, it's Travis Minor. Travis Minor's called him. Travis Minor's coming to LSU. And he came back. He was gone about 3 or 4 minutes, and he came back, and everybody's like, was it him? Did he call? And Jerry was like, no. That was my wife. I got to be home in a half an hour. But so, and of course, mine ended up signing with Florida State. But we had some moments over the years. So we'll see how this one turns out. It's off to an excellent start so far. That's your update here at the noon hour. We'll be updating this throughout the day. We'll take a break. Scott Rabelais, when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Big Mike's in Denham Springs with live music coming up the next couple of nights. On Thursday, Caitlin Renee on stage, and on Friday it's Titanium Rain. Saturday, Christmas Eve, they will be closing early. They're going to be open until 4 o'clock. So you want to stop by for lunch or to grab a cocktail before you gather with family and friends at your homes. Head on over to Big Mike's. It's still time to pick up your gift cards. You get a little bit extra for yourself. You pick up gift cards for $30, you get $5 off your next visit. $50 in gift cards, you'll get $10 off of your next visit. And $100 in gift cards, you will receive $20 off of your next visit at Big Mike's. You can still get your orders in for off-site catering. If you want to bring some things and you're lousy in the kitchen like me, let the professionals take care of it. Pick up your catering at Big Mike's for Christmas. Big Mike's on Aspen in Denham Springs. We're kind of a big deal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on a new 2022 Ford F-150, plus no payments for 90 days and 2.9% APR for 72 months. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests.
Hey, it's on. Join me 1 to 3 on Wednesday. Who flipped? Who signed? Who committed? Who decommitted? Who transferred? It's National Signing Day, and we'll get you ready for LSU and East Tennessee State on the hardwood. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Ooh, Merry Christmas, Christmas comes this time each year. Ooh, well, way up north where the air gets cold.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Couple more things to update you on as we move forward. Dalen Austin, defensive back that has been committed to LSU from Long Beach, California. We talked with Mike Scarborough and Shay Dixon about this. His departure was not at all a surprise. He ended up signing with Oregon today, the 4-star defensive back. And LSU has picked up a tight end commitment from Kamorian Pimpton. He is a 4-star tight end, 6'6", out of Fort Worth. He was committed previously to Vanderbilt. I did mention in the open, skipped over it in my notes, but Quillen Roy did make it official yesterday. He's going pro. That's not a huge surprise either. So we'll see as it continues. I just heard the promo with Hunt, who's flipping, who's not. We'll keep you up to date as this goes on. And I don't want to urge you, feel however you want, but we know how this goes sometimes. Guys that you get that you absolutely had to have end up not panning out. Guys that you didn't think would be a big deal end up being a big deal. Look, I'm all for getting as high rated a class as possible, but the world doesn't stop or start today. Okay, and there's plenty of examples that I could give for that. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais. He's probably got a lot of examples too. He's seen a few signing classes come and go. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
I was doing okay, Charlie. I've got the SEC network on here, and then Hugh Freeze just came on, so I had to stifle a desire to throw up.
Yeah.
But it'll pass. It'll pass.
Yeah. When we talk about signing classes, and we've seen the signing day euphoria when they get somebody that they didn't know if they were going to get, and I've seen the devastation when they when they lose out on somebody that they thought that they had. Any of them stand out for you? A story is like, oh, well, man, that didn't exactly go the way we thought it would go.
The player that always comes to mind is Chris Petaway, the lineman from the 1980s.
You're old.
I'm old.
Chris Petaway was there before there were recruiting rankings. He was a highly rated recruit before there were recruiting rankings.
Yeah, he was highly thought of, and he like, you got to get him. You got to get him. And he just didn't pan out. And like what's the famous thing? It's not the ones you get that one ones keeps it. It's the ones that you get away that beat you.
It's the ones that you get. It's the one that you get that can't play.
That can't play. Yeah, but it's everyone wants to. The thing about recruiting is everyone wants to make a judgment right now. This day.
Yeah.
And then the day in February about the class and where they rank and all that, and that's impossible to do. All you can say is, for a blanket statement, is do you have are you ranked among the top teams? Because you do have to, it's an uphill climb if you're going to be ranked, 21st. Michigan State, or Arkansas. Arkansas is 22nd in the on-3 rankings. It would uphill climb for Arkansas to get in the college football playoff on a consistent basis. But if you're ranked, LSU wants. All I can say about LSU's class is they're getting the players that other schools also covet, and obviously they're losing out on a few as well that they want that just not everybody gets. Even Alabama, even the great Alabama doesn't get every single player they want. So people should take get a grip. But of course it's signing day and people want the drama. Oh, the thing I remember, Charlie, if I can, remember the first bash or the second one that Jerry DiNardo started, and he took the phone call.
Yeah, I just told the story.
Travis Minor.
You were listening to Hugh Freeze. I just told the story. So
that was amazing drama, especially he was so new.
Yeah,
that was amazing drama. I think I remember seeing you at that bash way back then. We've known each other a long time, Charles.
Yeah, I was at all of them. I was there. DiNardo's first signing class, they didn't have a bash as we knew it, but he had a press conference over at LSU on the 5th floor where they used to have all the press conferences. And he had invited, friends of the program, friends of his to be there. And it was kind of like a little social, and the media stuck around there. And from that was born the bash. And we saw it. It had a great run. And then when they changed the rules, the bash kind of went away. But, the 5 for 5, let me see if you can do this, because I actually had to think about it. This was one of the great meltdown days in LSU recruiting history, and it serves as a perfect example of what we're talking about here. Everybody remembers the 2 that LSU got. This was in 2014, January 2014, at the All-American game, and there were 5 players that were going to make their announcements that day, and LSU was supposed to get all 5 of them. Most of the recruiting analysts thought that they were going to get all 5 of them, and the fans did too, and they got 2. Now, everybody remembers the 2 that they got. Leonard Fournette and Jamal Adams. They were great players here. They were high draft picks. They've been highly productive players in the NFL. Can you name the 3 that they lost?
Was that the Landon Collins year?
That was not the Landon Collins year.
No,
Landon Collins, they lost the year that they played Alabama for the national championship.
Okay.
The whole week stunk. They got Landon Collins, and then they lost the game.
I guess to your point, no, I can't name them off the top of my head. I could have named the 2 that they got.
I could name 2 of the 3 that they lost. I had forgotten about the 3rd guy. I remembered Speedy Noyle from Carr, who went to Texas A&M and had his moments, but stayed in a little bit of trouble off the field. And Gerald Willis, they lost to Florida, who was a fantastic defensive lineman for Carr when he played. But whatever trouble that Noyle got in, Willis got in twice as much trouble. He ended up having to transfer out of there. That was the deal where he got in the fight with the teammate about the shoes after practice. And anyway, they ran him off from there. He ended up at Miami. When he played, he was pretty good, but he was constantly in trouble. The 5th one I couldn't remember. I was ashamed of myself. I had to look it up. It was a kid named Tony Brown. He was a corner. He was from Texas, and he signed with Alabama. And his sister was a track athlete.
Track athlete.
Yeah, she was a track athlete here, and everybody thought that Brown was coming to LSU. He ended up going to Alabama, and nothing ever. He never took hold. So of the 3, it's not like the 3 of them didn't have any talent, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out for them. Yeah. And you never know what's going through a recruit's head. I remember back in the 90s, LSU lost out on a very highly recruited player out of New Orleans, and everybody thought that LSU was going to get this player. And when I asked after the whole thing went down, I said, "How'd you guys lose him?" And one of the coaches told me one of his friends was shot about 2 blocks from his house, probably a couple of weeks before sign date. And he says, when we saw the kid right after that, he had tears in his eyes. He says, "I'm getting out of this state." And so, sometimes things like that, not such tragedies like that, but the reasons that players flip or go somewhere, it's not always, at surface level what you think it is.
I had a coach tell me one time, the kids close to home, you try to sell them on the benefits of being close to home. And the kids from far away that you want, you try to sell them on the benefits of hey, it's good to branch out and everything. Like Miami's having a great recruiting class, but also gets Jaylen Brown out of the city of Miami. You don't think the Hurricanes wanted Jaylen Brown? Sure, they did. I mean, he's highly regarded, one of LSU's most highly regarded recruits, and a player like Kamorian Pimpton from Fort Worth, Texas. You don't think TCU wanted him? I'm sure they did, but he's coming to LSU. Whit Weeks, the linebacker from Watkinsville, Georgia. That's Oconee County. I believe that's Zach Mettenberger's alma mater, if I'm not mistaken. That's right there in suburban Athens. I'm sure Georgia would have taken him. So some of these kids, they have all kinds of reasons for leaving home, and some kids just want to branch out, and some want to stay close to home. And it's I always see this from recruiting. Some kids just plateau. I remember I played golf in high school, Charlie, at Baton Rouge High. We didn't have football or basketball or baseball, but I played on the golf team, and our best player went to LSU, and he just topped out. He played in like one tournament, and he was one of the best players in the state. And then some players just develop, they blossom in college, just like in the NFL. Some guys say, where's that guy from? He's playing in the NFL now. He's a great player. He played at Morehead State or something like that. Well, they blossom. And there's a lot of change that happens, obviously, from when you're 16, 17 being recruited to when you actually get into college and you're actually a productive player. So there's always players that are going to disappoint. There's always players that are going to surprise in the long term. And it's good, as you said, to go back and look at a class like 2017 and see how truly, productive it was. But as of today, as I said, all you can do is look at the players LSU is getting, and are they filling needs, and are they filling them with players that other top school programs want? And the answer is generally yes. And overall, you'll never be totally satisfied. I think I guess I'm sure there were some A&M fans who weren't totally satisfied last year. Somehow,
you're always you're gonna miss one. I'll give you another one. Les's first class, his first full class, not the short class when he got in 2005, but his first full class in 2006. There were some really good players up at the top of that class, like Kelvin Shepard and Richard Dixon, that were excellent players for LSU. There was one guy that was probably rated the highest. I think he was rated the highest in that class. And he never really panned out at LSU, but he's still in the NFL. This was 2006 class. Al Woods. Al Woods out of Elton. He was a 5-star, but he had played Class A football. So he had, he was 320 pounds or whatever he was when he was at LSU. And he basically was able to bully him around. He developed some poor techniques, and he never really blossomed here. But he is still playing in the NFL.
Saw him play in person. That's the one Saints game I've been to this year when the Saints played the Seahawks. And he's just a force in the middle. He's got that size and technique that this good for Al Woods. I remember he was a nice kid, but yet, like you said, never quite found his niche, but he blossomed.
13 years in the NFL. He's played for 7 teams, including the Seahawks 3 times. So they really like him up there. They keep bringing him back, and that's who he's playing for now. It's funny how some of the things work out. I'll give you, and this is all in the podcast today, by the way. If you like this stuff, you like going back to old names, it's like, oh, man, I forgot about that guy. You'll like today's podcast. They took a kid named Phil Lodeholt in that class. He was an offensive lineman, and he was very, very highly rated, but they couldn't get him in school, but Oklahoma did. And so after he signed with LSU, he ended up going to Oklahoma. He was a junior college kid, and he played at Oklahoma. He was great at Oklahoma. He got drafted. He spent 6 years in the NFL with the Vikings before an injury forced him out of the game. It's like, well, Les should get credit. He got a kid named Phil Lodeholt, a 6-year NFL veteran, but he never played for LSU. He got another kid in that class in 2006 that everybody will remember his name, who also didn't make much of an impact on the football team, but he sure made an impact at LSU, and that was Jared Mitchell. Okay, never, he wasn't a bad football player, but it never quite worked out for him, where he became a star. But he was the MVP of the College World Series in 2009. So it was, it worked out pretty good for LSU with Jared Mitchell, and we could tell a lot of these stories about how signing day goes and what you think on signing day, and you don't. The 2017 class, I got to reference that one more time. You remember who was the last guy in? You remember who the last guy in was? Ended up being the best player in the class, Justin Jefferson. So I mean, yeah, they did pretty well with that. So we move on. Scott, we certainly appreciate your time. Always do. You headed to Orlando. I guess maybe the next time we talk to you. Not quite the next time we talk to you.
I'll still be here, but heading over on the 30th for the game. So I'll still be here next Wednesday. So, but last chance to say Merry Christmas to you, Charlie, and to your family, and to all your wonderful listeners. Hey, and hey, look, real quick, and I'm not trying to butter you up. I really mean this. I'm glad you're back on the air. I really am. I truly, like a lot of your listeners, I truly missed you when you weren't, and I'm glad you're back. That's been a Christmas present for all of us this year.
You and all my creditors are very happy that I'm back on the air. Believe me. Thank you, Scott. Merry Christmas to you as well.
You too. You too.
We'll take a break. We'll do first class, second class, no class when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
If you're a business owner and you're having some problems with staffing, it's sort of a universal problem right now. Tiger Labor and Staffing can help. The very time-consuming and frustrating process of staffing, the interviews, the background checks, the training, all of the payroll expenses that you go through with the Tiger Labor and Staffing is going to be able to help, so you're not wasting your time with unqualified applicants or no-show interviews. If you need somebody for a day, a week, a month, you can control your labor expenses, increase your flexibility, and if you need seasonal employees for periods of time, they can help out with that. Your temp to hire option is only 60 days. That's the lowest in the industry. If you're looking for a job, Tiger Labor and Staffing welcomes skilled and unskilled labor. They'll match you with a job that fits, and the turnarounds on pay are very quick, so get your work done without the worries. Tiger Labor and Staffing. Success begins with the eye of the tiger. Go to tigerlabor.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Black Widow Jeep Gladiators in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to succeed in school. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
16 in the NFL continues Saturday when the Patriots host Joe Burrow and the Bengals at noon, and the Steelers host the Raiders at 7:15 p.m. Then it's a Christmas Day tripleheader on Sunday with the Dolphins and the Packers at noon, the Rams and the Broncos at 3:30 p.m., and the Cardinals and the Buccaneers at 7:20 p.m. All here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I love those J-I-N-G.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hanny Time. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
Okay, before we get into that, I want to update you on the signings that have come in since we started the show today. We gave you the first 16. There are 4 more. Javian Toviano, the cornerback from Texas, is now in. He came in right as we were starting the show. We talked about him a little bit last week. He's from Arlington, Texas. Ashton Stamps, cornerback, got in right after him. Stamps is from Rommel. Kamarian Pimpton was the tight end we told you about 15 minutes ago that they had flipped from Vanderbilt. He signed about 10 minutes ago. And Jackson Howard, defensive end, also signed just here in the last few minutes. Howard is from Minneapolis. So the total is 20 now for LSU football. And we'll keep you up to date throughout the day as the news continues to file in. I put some of this stuff together last night for first class, second class, no class, and was shocked this morning to hear the news that Franco Harris had passed away. And obviously a posthumous first class to Franco, 72 years old. The cause of death was not known. He died at home. And this is just days short of the Steelers retiring his jersey on the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, which has been voted on as the greatest play in NFL history. And if I'm sure you've seen it, but we've now got some new angles. I went and looked at it this morning. I saw some angles that have been published. When you watch it on NFL Films, usually what you get is Bradshaw throwing the ball, and you get the point of impact, but you don't ever see the next thing they show you is a close-up of Franco going to catch the ball, but you can't really see where it is in relation to the ground from the official NFL Films. Well, you go on YouTube and you dig a little bit. There's some end zone views that are available now that you can see, and you can still debate on whether Jack Tatum touched the ball or Frenchie Fuqua touched the ball, but Terry Bradshaw had a great explanation of it. He says, if you watch how far the ball caroms, he says, and listen, I was on the ground. I didn't see it live, but Tatum had to have hit the ball. Tatum was one of the fiercest hitters in the NFL at that time, and one of the fiercest hitters ever. And he was coming with such velocity that the ball had to have hit him. And that's significant because if it didn't, the play wouldn't have been legal. But some of these end zone views that you see now, you can see that the play was completely legal. And it's a good job, Danny. You can see Tatum coming, clearly hits the ball, and you can also see Harris gets the ball before it hits the ground. The running joke is that, in this view, I'm sorry if you listen on the radio, you can't see, but what he's showing now is the film from NFL Films, which is a face-on view of Harris, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to see the ball hit the ground. But when you see that end zone view, you can see that it's a completely legal play on one of the most miraculous things you've ever seen. This was in a playoff game at Three Rivers Stadium in 1972. A lot of people think that this launched the Steeler dynasty, and I'm certainly not going to argue with them on that. They didn't win the Super Bowl that year. Miami did, but they won 4 and 6 after that. Just an awful news to hear this morning that Franco Harris, who they've only retired 3 jerseys in the history of the Steelers. So when you think about all of the great players, like Bradshaw's jersey is not retired. Lynn Swan's jersey is not retired. John Stallworth's jersey is not retired. Donnie Shell's Mel Blount is not retired. I meant to say Blount, not Shell. Shell was a good player, but Blount was a Hall of Famer. Lambert and Ham. It's Joe Green, Ernie Stautner, and it was going to be Franco. It will be Franco, but unfortunately he passed away. Just awful news. All right, first class. Got to go with Frank Gore Jr. here. I don't imagine that, the Lending Tree Bowl was, the one that you were looking to watch, but you had a historical performance here. Frank Gore Jr., whose father played in the NFL for 114 years, ran for 329 yards. That's a bowl record, couple of touchdowns, and just for the hell of it, threw a touchdown pass as well. He threw 3 passes in the game, and he threw a touchdown pass. Again, I know that this wasn't the Orange Bowl for the national championship or the Sugar Bowl, but Frank Gore Jr., first class for that performance last week. The second class, good with a chance to be great. This one's easy. LSU signing class. Every kid that's in that class that signs today is good enough to have been offered a scholarship by not just LSU, but probably many other big schools as well. Every single one of them has the opportunity to go to college, be on a successful team, have individual success, get a degree, get to the NFL, blossom there, make life-changing money. It's right there for all of them. History tells us that it will happen for some of them, and it won't happen for some of them. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, we'll be talking about this class, and it'll be, hey, remember that guy was really highly rated, and he didn't pan out. Hey, remember that guy wasn't rated highly at all, and look what he became. We brought up Justin Jefferson as the last guy in the class. LSU had a hell of a run, actually, over a period of time with the last guy in the class, Lloyd Cushenberry, who became a fantastic center for LSU and is in the NFL with the Denver Broncos right now, was the last player in that class. And so was Foster Morrow, the tight end who got a scholarship offer on signing day and is still, it was a good player at LSU and is still in the league playing for the Las Vegas Raiders. So everything that you see in here today, just know that, well, and it's not that that's the only narrative. Some of the guys that are highly rated will still be great players. Patrick Surtain was one that really stung LSU. LSU thought that they were going to get him. He ended up going to Alabama. He was a 5-star guy. His dad played in the league. He was there 3 years at Alabama. He was great at Alabama. He was a high pick. He's with the Denver Broncos. He's a great player in the league. Everything with Patrick Surtain went exactly as it was expected, with the exception of where he went to school. But all of those things came out. So good with a chance to be great. Everybody here on signing day. No class. I've seen a lot of creative ways to lose football games, but rarely do you see on the same weekend 2 teams try to one-up each other. The Indianapolis Colts on Saturday blew the biggest lead in NFL history. They were up 33-0 in the second half and lost. I didn't bother to look at the percentages of what Indianapolis's win chances were when they were up 33-0, but I'm just going to say it's however many nines you can put behind 99 point whatever, 99, and then the nines can go all the way to the end of the earth. Everything but 100%. Probably where they were, and they lost. And then on Sunday, the Patriots said, "Hold my beer," and they came up with if you can imagine a more ridiculous way to lose, please inform me. I mean, short of the whole team thinking that the game is over and going to the locker room and the other team snapping the ball against air, I can't think of anything dumber than what the Patriots did on Sunday. And the Raiders were the beneficiary of that. The Raiders, who 1 week earlier had managed to blow a lead of their own to Baker Mayfield, who had been playing for the Rams for about 15 minutes. But this play, we played the Immaculate Reception earlier in the segment. That has been replayed thousands and thousands and thousands of times. This play with the Raiders and the Patriots will be played thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Chandler Jones, if he lives to be 100, will talk. Guy's got a Super Bowl ring. He's been a great player in the league for a long time. The first question that Chandler Jones will get asked about when he's talking about his career, every interview from now until the day he leaves the earth, will lead with that play. But for the Patriots and the Colts, I'm sorry. You just can't do that. That's no class. We'll take a break. We'll take some of your questions and wrap things up, get you some final updates before we turn it over to Hunt Palmer on signing day. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
All right, if you still haven't gotten your Christmas shopping done for the special someone in your life, your spouse, your girlfriend, head on over to Selassie in Denham Springs, or for the guys in your life, because watches as well, watches and rings. They are Stuart is a certified diamond graduate from GIA. This is a very, very hard get. It means the guy knows what he's doing. So if you want to design, you want to build, you want to repair, maybe a sentimental piece of jewelry that just needs some refurbishing, and you give that as a gift. They are open all the way through Christmas Day. They've been open 7 days a week here in the month of December. Family owned and operated. They service watches from Timex all the way up to Rolex. They do ring sizing and jewelry appraisal. So if you've been putting it off, get to Selassie, conveniently located in the Antique District in Denham Springs. As we get close to Christmas, head on over to Selassie.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. And the revolution is closer than you think. RTC, ETEL, and Vision are now Rev. New name, same company.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. It's National Signing Day. We'll get you up to date on all the players the Tigers inked, and we'll hear from Brian Kelly. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I am telling you.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Okay, number 21 is in for LSU. Christian Brathwaite, the linebacker from Cypress, Texas, 4-star prospect, is number 21. Sure, Hunt will be doing a complete recap when he starts his show. We gave you the ones. It's at LSUsports.net when LSU gets them in officially. So that's coming in. Wanted to also on the first class today. One of our listeners, Stephen Miller, sent a really cool. It was a piece of artwork, and it was all of the SEC mascots in a kind of a caricature around a casket that had Mississippi State draped over it, and it was really nice. A lot of people responded to it on Twitter. On my Twitter feed last night when Steven sent it to it. So it was a nice gesture. The memorial service for Mike Leach was yesterday. All right, some of your questions. When will we start getting whole hat ceremony treatment for portal transfers? I hope never. I don't hate the hat thing as much as some people do. I look at it as kind of a graduation type deal. You know, when you graduate from high school, you get a little something. Okay, you get a little get together. Your family's there. They watch you graduate. Maybe you have some cake or whatever. That's just for the football players. I wouldn't want to deny anybody their moment. Those kids have worked and they're getting a scholarship, and that's something that should be celebrated. I do get a little bit aggravated when it gets a little bit too showy, and you're trying to, in the interest of shocking everybody, you really screw around with some people's emotions. And I don't mean the fans. Okay, the fans are doing this voluntarily, but the coaches, the assistant coaches especially, they've put in an enormous amount of time trying to do their jobs, and honestly, it's disrespectful in my opinion. The emotions that go into it, it's their jobs, their livelihoods, it's their families, and it's okay just to say, Coach, thank you for recruiting me, but it's best for me to go somewhere else. And I think they respect that. There's a famous story about Tom Izzo, the great Michigan State basketball coach, when he was an assistant there for Judd Heathcote, and they were recruiting Chris Webber. And Izzo spent probably 3 years recruiting Chris Webber. He was every bit the number one player in the country from the time he was pretty much a high school freshman or sophomore. And so they went all in on him. And Izzo he told everybody, hey, I spent more time with, trying to get around Chris Webber and his family and recruiting, trying to get him to come to Michigan State. And what happened was Webber went to a football game between Michigan and Minnesota. This was at the old Metrodome, and Webber was sitting in a box that was provided by the University of Minnesota, which at the time was against the rules. Somebody in compliance from Michigan State took a picture and turned it into the NCAA without Izzo knowing about it. And when he found out about it, it was too late, because the NCAA had already called the Webbers and said, what are you doing? You can't, we're going to have to, do something to the University of Minnesota. And the Webbers were so taken aback by this. They're like, who turned us in? And they said, Michigan State did. And it was the dumbest recruiting move that they could have made, because Webber, under no circumstances, was going to the University of Minnesota. He was going to the football game just, to go to a football game. And when Izzo found out that somebody had turned him in and Michigan State had gotten blamed for it, and they didn't blame Izzo, but they were like, no way we're going to do that if that's how you're going to treat us. And he went to Michigan, and you know the rest of the story. And Izzo spent 3 years of his life, 3 years of his life, 24/7 trying to get this kid, and something completely out of his control doomed him. And Izzo told a story. He said, what did you do? He said, I sat down in my house and cried. Now, that's a grown man. It's a Hall of Fame coach, okay? So I don't mind him doing the hat thing, okay? You want to celebrate your deal, but just keep in mind that these grown men that are doing this for a living, that sacrifice time with their families to try to get you to come to their school, have a little bit of emotional involvement here too, and you don't need to screw with them. It's kind of unnecessary. What was the other one I had? Somebody asked me if the weed policy is costing players to LSU. That's been amended a couple of times, and it is no longer the massive problem that it once was all the way around. So no, haven't heard that in a while. I think that's it. That's it for the questions today. Okay. Podcast will be dropped this afternoon. Kind of a history of LSU recruiting for first full recruiting class coaches. So if you want to take a little nostalgic stroll with us, the Hannycast will be up on 104.5 ESPN.com a little bit later on this afternoon. Thanks to everybody for participating. For Danny and Mario, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge as we come down towards year end. 3.9% APR for 60 months on most models on the lot. And for your MDX and TLXs, $1,000 in loyalty cash is coming back your way. 2 years, 24,000-mile complimentary scheduled maintenance on all 2023 models, and a huge selection of certified pre-owns on the lot right now. 7 years of 100,000-mile powertrain coverage included with that, plus roadside assistance, which is invaluable, especially for your older drivers or your younger drivers. First scheduled maintenance is free complimentary service vehicle with certified pre-owned purchase. We bought our vehicles for a long time at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. It is the transparency in pricing and a very easy sales process that you are going to enjoy. Check them out now at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin